Water, the fundamental component of human existence. All plants and animals need its nourishment in order to survive. Humans are no exception. Our bodies need water in every cell, every tissue, and in every organ in order to balance, maintain, to secure, and to stabilize our temperature and continue our essential bodily functions. Water is said to be the body's main route of transportation through which nutrients and other things are moved. The presence of water is crucial to all earthly and human existence. But without it, every aspect of existence would suffer. The oceans would dry out, the seas would evaporate, the rivers would be barren, the lakes would be parched, and the streams would expire. The plants would wither, and human existence would face perilous conditions. We would be dehydrated, our bodies would lose functionality, and everything would come to a dramatic halt.
These types of conditions seem so extreme and rare in today's prosperous and wealthy world, but these same lifeless conditions have paralyzed the country South Sudan. Located in East Africa, South Sudan is a place that has fallen victim to many hardships throughout the years. Before becoming its own nation in 2011, South Sudan was a part of a broader Sudanese nation. This union was destined to fail because of the ethnic tensions between the Arab northern region and the more African southern region. This resulted in multiple civil wars and the loss of numerous lives. In 2011, South Sudan voted to become its own country. Since this succession, South Sudan has struggled with famine, drought, hunger, ethnic conflict, government corruption, civil war, and a stagnant economy that has failed to generate income despite being home to many natural resources.
Here, you can see that Sudan has few major bodies of water. The lack of access to clean water has caused the country of South Sudan to exist in a state of famine for years now, with no end in sight. This problem is crippling the country and harshly complicating the lives of its residents. Our organization, the African Infrastructure Implementation Organization, aims to address famine, drought, and hunger in South Sudan through the development of water distribution systems and management. In order to make the most impact, we plan to implement water infrastructure and improve farming by helping rural populations access water and educating the local population on maintaining the installed infrastructure.
South Sudan's fluctuating climate leads to some regions in the nation receiving little to no rainfall for months on end. These parched conditions paired with political instability and unrest lead to food scarcity. Developing the water infrastructure in South Sudan is essential in preventing famine and providing access to clean water to the population. There is an abundant supply of water in South Sudan, but lack of infrastructure renders these sources inaccessible. The area that needs the most development is the rural area. The majority of the rural population get their water through hand pumps. Our goal is to improve the water infrastructure that is already present, as well as to increase the amount of pumps in the rural area. We also look to develop wells and boreholes, as these are the best way of accessing water. The sustainability of the project is based on many factors, but it is dependent in part on the supply of spare parts and skilled technicians.
One of the reasons the people of South Sudan are faced with famine is because of sporadic rainfall. Farmers are unable to harvest their food. Our initiative is to provide the South Sudanese with the means to be able to grow their food no matter the season. We can accomplish this by providing necessary technology which will enable farmers to water their plants. In order to effectively address the food problem, we plan to install wells and hand pumps throughout the country so people do not need to travel far to obtain water. Many people in South Sudan are faced with starvation. We hope that the infrastructure we install will enable farmers to grow crops year-round, which will address the malnutrition concern. Since the country is ravaged by war, it is very plausible that the infrastructure involved could be damaged or vandalized in some way. Rebel forces may try to contaminate the wells so people may no longer be able to utilize them. However, if the installed technology proves to be useful, the citizens that rely on it may fight to protect it. Once people become dependent on the new technology, it is likely to be conserved.
In order to make the water infrastructure the most effective, it will need constant maintenance. Additionally, problems with it will surely arise, and experts that installed the technology will not always be readily available to come fix it, leaving the surrounding population without a clean water source. To circumvent these problems, a training program will be included for the local population. By training them on basic maintenance and solutions to malfunctions, the local population is one step closer to becoming independent and self-sufficient in terms of their clean water. This is feasible because the local population will surely take interest in maintaining their own water source, and in the long run, this will save money when compared to sending professionals every time something goes wrong with the infrastructure. The risks of this include the information not being passed along properly, as the first people maintaining the infrastructure will surely not be the last. In order to mitigate this, AIIO can do regular check-ins to see if a refresher training session is needed in that area. Here's a list of outcome indicators that we can use to measure the effectiveness of the program. Here is a breakdown of our annual funding. It is broken up by project implementation goal, including infrastructure, food, and education on maintenance.
At the conclusion of this project, AIIO aims for South Sudan to have increased countrywide hydration, decreased food insecurity, lower mortality rates, and ultimately be raised out of famine. We also want the rural population to be able to maintain the implemented infrastructure themselves so as to maximize efficiency. We believe that with this program, the people of South Sudan will be able to live healthier and happier lives.